The following video is made possible by a Patreon supporter. If you'd like to make a request for an album for me to review and also support the channel at the same time, visit the top link in the description down below. What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review, a throwback review that is, and a Patreon request for my patron Andrew. Thank you for the support. This album that I'm reviewing today is the third studio album by the power pop alternative rock band OK Go, of the blue color of the sky. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I will be giving quick thoughts on my friend Mark, aka Fully Involved's new EP called Insolence, so look out for that in just a few. OK Go, the band on treadmills, the band with the viral hits. You probably know them just like I do from their prolific music videos that just put in so much effort, so much talent, and so much work. It's so much precision and thought that goes into the making of them that you can't help but watch over and over and over again. But I, like so many others, probably kind of ignored the rest of their music because I was so caught up in the music videos and I really saw them as more of a singles band for that reason. But at the same time, I also didn't really make the effort to check out their full-length albums other than Oh No. That was my only full-length experience before going into Of the Blue Color of the Sky. The songs that I have known from OK Go over the years, I've absolutely loved. It's mainly been singles, of course, because of the music videos, but I'm starting to learn in my mind to really draw the difference between watching the music video and being able to listen to them and love them outside of the context of the amazing videos. With this album Of the Blue Color of the Sky, there is an overarching concept to it, and I think that it's kind of a loose one, but still, there's themes of nature and just kind of appreciating and relating things. There's sadness, there's melancholic feelings, but there's also euphoria on some of these moments, and you see really the lead singer Damian Kulas Jr., he's dealing with everything from writer's block, like on Skyscrapers, to a relationship ending on In Love, to some more personal moments as we go throughout this LP. I'll start by saying that I had actually heard 3 songs from this project before I got to this Patreon request. I had obviously heard the amazing This Too Shall Pass, a very motivating and anthemic tune in a way, bright, chirpy, a lot of great guitars on it, and I love how clean this track feels. It does have a lot of outside instrumentation on it as well, and everything from the chanted vocals at the end to just going out on that blazing "when the morning comes," that final little striking phrase there. It's a fantastic, dare I say gorgeous moment on this LP that, yes, has an amazing video, but is great outside of the context of that. I had also heard the video version of Needing/Getting, which is a relationship track. Needing is one thing, but getting, that's another. You'd probably seen at the Super Bowl that car commercial, I think it was for Chevrolet, as they drove down that track and they were playing all of the notes with like bottles and the car hitting things. It was insane in the best way. My mind was blown, and I've probably watched that video a good 30 times. And as I watched it, I got familiar with that version of the track, but I didn't know that it was really that different from the studio version. And while the studio version is more processed, obviously, I still have truly come to love and appreciate this version of the track. I had also heard from this album White Knuckles, and how had I heard that? It was actually from the game Tap Tap Revenge 3. That's right, I had an iPod Touch back in the day, and that was one of the free tracks of the week to download and play, and that was the first song that I ever heard from this album in the first place. White Knuckles is totally a tune. I love the funked out guitar that we get, almost a little bit disco dipped, and the way that the solo on this thing just kind of shifts up and down the scales. Totally a euphoric moment on this LP here, and I think it's just a fun track in general with a great chorus that sticks in your mind, and the band are clearly very good at doing that. Like I said, I previously only had knowledge, at least in terms of full lengths, of their album Oh No, which yes, featured their hit song Here It Goes Again, and they clearly have a knack for writing a catchy chorus. But I also like the stylistic shift here. I admire the fact that it was a bold choice for them, because as this album goes on outside of the singles, you can clearly see that they kind of get away from that. They start writing songs that have more dramatic arcs to them, or something that are just so vastly different, like Skyscrapers with that deep program bass that really just drips all throughout. there's minimalism, and that's used to their advantage on this album. There's also another song towards the end that I have to really give a shout out to because I enjoy the vocoders, and I won't say auto-tune because it does feel more vocoded, but still, the pitch effect on the voice, and that is the track Before the Earth Was Round. That is one that seems to deal with the fact that technology has kind of changed our lives, and it kind of argues, is it better, is it worse than it was before, where are we now, and where do we land as humankind? And it's a very intriguing track that I kind of initially shook off because I didn't pay attention to the lyrics, but the more I listened to it, the more I like the vocoded effect and also the impact of the words. Great songs aren't always in abundance, as I feel like on a few they don't really flex their strengths like they do on so many of the other album's cuts, and one of those would be one of the opening moments towards the beginning of this record, All Is Not Lost. I definitely feel like the repetition and the way that the chorus just continuously kind of siphons its way in, I don't feel like that one really gets the job done for me. And then towards the end of this record, it does kind of go out on some slower moments, and I do enjoy several of those. I already talked about Before the Earth Was Round. I also do really appreciate Last Leaf, just kind of a beautiful track that I see as being an acoustic leaning moment that centers on a relationship or maybe reflecting on a past one that came to an end, as you talked about on In Love, another really catchy and captivating moment on this LP. I have to say that it sums things up nicely. But then we get into the other moment that I just don't care for all that much, and that one is Back to Kathmandu. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly, but this one just feels like it's slow and rarely rotating. I don't feel like we get a lot of fresh or invigorating material on this track. However, I have come around to liking the two final tracks. I like the hand claps and once again the kind of minimalism that is used on the track While You Were Asleep. That was actually written by the band's guitarist Andy Ross, and I admire him for taking a little bit of a different step on this one, and it seems fragile in its nature. It seems like he's talking about stepping out into the sunlight, but what is this day going to bring us? Is it going to bring us something good, or is it just going to find a way to destroy us? And he ties in themes of nature in a really cool and kind of realistic way. Then we have the closing moment in the glass, which I do like. It runs on a bit long for me, but as I've listened to the album more, I think that I respect it a whole lot more. The closing track and then the opening moment, WTF, aka What the Fuck. What the Fuck is probably one of my favorite tracks here. It has a buzzing galore to it. I love this tune. It really gets stuck in your head in a very, very good way, and I love the guitar breakdown on this one as well. It's like mixed with a synthesizer and the way that it all comes together. Just a quirky track that's a great way to start off this record. Whether you're looking for something a little bit more quirky or almost geeky leaning like WTF or I Want You So Bad I Can't Breathe, or perhaps something a little bit deeper like Skyscraper or Last Leaf or the closing moment for sure in the glass. I think that there's definitely a lot of different types of songs here that have a connected flow still, but it will also kind of satisfy a variety of different music fans. And I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite reviews that I've done for a $20 a month patron because I've enjoyed this album more than most of the ones that I've covered for those Patreon supporters. So thank you to Andrew for the request here. Honestly, I really do enjoy, and I would dare say love, a good amount of this record. I'm going to give Of the Blue Color of the Sky, the third album by OK Go, a 4 out of 5. Now, as promised, I've got some quick thoughts on the project from Fully Involved. Full disclosure, this is a friend of mine, Mark. He used to run the channel Spin It Reviews. He's been a music critic, but now he is more of a musician himself. He released a project, a full-length last year called Learned Helplessness, and honestly, it was kind of a rough outing for him. It was like a first step that was hopefully going to lead to something more. So I went into this new little EP, Insolence, with optimism but also caution because I honestly didn't really enjoy Learned Helplessness really much at all. There were a few good songs, but moving into this new one, Insolence, I think that he's really capitalized on the potential that he had in the first place. It starts off with something that's maybe leaning a little bit more towards power pop, think like Weezer, and that first track is called Tend to You, really catchy, and I think his vocals and really just the instrumentation all around has improved, likely because he's actually recording at a studio this time and has other people doing different parts of the record. Even though this is a solo project, there are other people playing on it. And as he describes the record himself, he says that that it gets more and more pissed off as it goes on, as it details somebody's chronic illness. And I know that Mark is actually diabetic, so I think that this is personal, but I think it could apply to a lot of other scenarios as well. And while 10 to You opens up on a very, very catchy note, we move into some harder, more punk-leaning moments, especially track number 3, At Least You Have Your Health. That one is definitely pummeling with its presence, and I have to say that he sounds good as an angry vocalist, and it kind of caught me off guard. The second track, I've seen some other friends in the community kind of reviewing this one negatively, but I really like this one. 40 at 4 is something that starts off a little bit rough vocally. You can tell that there's still not quite the confidence or maybe the natural raw talent when it comes to being a vocalist, but I think he's able to overcome this as the track goes on, and the pre-chorus on that is probably my favorite moment on the entire little EP. I was very surprised by this track, and I think it's earwormy. And then the final moment is also really cool as well, capped off with a huge, just big, fantastic guitar solo. I love the track Insolence. It's the title moment here, and it kind of talks about being angry at the corporations that seem to kind of hold the hand and control everybody who needs, like, medication. Think like the Pharma Bro, you know, Martin Shkreli, everything like that. You know what he's talking about there. Overall, this is a very solid outing that actually surprised me, you know? I didn't know that I was going to like it this much. I thought maybe this is just going to be me reviewing something for a friend, and I end up, you know, being at a loss for words for what to say. I always want to be critical, but I also don't want to tear down a new artist, but this I could genuinely say is a strong 3.5 out of 5 from me. Go check it out, stream it, and support him on Bandcamp. There's a link in the description. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did actually watch this video, thank you so much. I don't feel like a ton of people are going to tune in, but I hope you did. I hope you watched it, because these were two projects that are definitely worth checking out. Go listen to those. They will both be linked in the description. Please drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. If you would like to get your favorite album reviewed, then tap that Patreon link. There's an annotation on the corner of the screen, or else the top link down below. $20 a month, that's the level you're at. You get to make a request for an album for me to review. If you want to see another Patreon review or another recent video, right here, socials in the description. And other than that, I'll see you soon on ARTV.